All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, and the bishops at Great Millstone. I'm your brother, Rabbi Nab, coming out with a lesson. Lord's will, this is edifying to the Lord's elect. Now, I found this on timesofisrael.com. It says, not a Jew transcript. It says, full text, have we learned of absolutely nothing in these 80 years? We have to be more powerful than the barbarians, or they will crash our gates, destroy our societies. Let me look this word, barbarians. Because I believe the barbarians are Israelites. Let me look this up real quick. Where are you? I think it's in the book of Acts. Barbarians and the Scythians. Acts 28:4. And when the barbarians saw the venomous beast hang on his hand, they said among themselves, no doubt this man is a murderer, whom though he have escaped the sea, yet vengeance suffereth not to live. So this was Paul when after the shipwreck. I want to look at this word barbarians. Acts 28:4. Real quick. Because I believe they're Israelites. I think this is a Greek term.
Strong's G 915. Barbaros.
Barbarous, barbarian. One who speaketh speech is rude, rough, and harsh. One who speaks a foreign or strange language which is not understood by another, used by the Greeks, of any foreigner ignorant of the Greek language, whether mental or moral, with the added notion after the Persian War of rudeness and brutality. The word is used in the New Testament without the idea of reproachfulness. So, those who don't speak the Greek tongue, all right, they probably referring to the Jews. Let's see. In Roman time. In Roman times, barbarians were foreigners living outside the Roman Empire's borders who did not speak Latin or Greek and lacked Roman traditions. They were a diverse, non-unified group, including Germanic peoples, Celts, and Huns, often stereotyped as uncivilized or savage. Many interacted with, served in, or eventually settled within Rome. So sounds like the same thing they be calling niggas today. Niggas, Latinos, and Native Americans. Barbarians, Israelites. The term barbarians in relation to Israelis, no, I didn't say Israelis, is primarily used in modern political disclosure. No. Are the barbarians Israelites? No, historically and ethically, barbarians are not Israelites. The term barbarian was used by ancient Greeks and Romans to describe foreigners, including Germanic, Celtic, Hunnic, and Slavic peoples. I'm looking for a precept. Right here, Colossians 3:11. It says, where there is neither Greek nor Jew, circumcision nor uncircumcision, barbarian, Scythian, bond, nor free, but Hamashiach is all in all. Let's see what this means first. Instead, Hamashiach is central, uniting all believers and dwelling within them, making him the ultimate source of identity and unity. Let me look this up in chat, as a matter of fact, before I get into it. I don't mean to make a whole damn thing about this, but I'm trying to get to something here. Where there is neither Greek nor Jew, this is talking about within the body of Yahweh Shai, the elect. Greek here represents Israelites who are Hellenized, scattered among the nations and following Greek customs, not actual heathens being made equal. Jew refers to those who kept the customs and knew their identity. Okay, point, this is about unity among Israelites, not inclusion of other nations. Circumcision circumcision nor uncircumcision. Circumcision, Israelites equals Israelites keeping the law outwardly. Uncircumcision, Israelites scattered, not keeping the law, Gentile state of mind. The Most High is dealing with the inward man, not the outward. Barbarian, Scythian. These were considered the lowest, most uncivilized nations in the ancient world. Spiritually, this represents Israelites who were in the worst, most degraded conditions among the nations. So I believe the word can be used interchangeably. Maybe that was just a term, but I was trying to see if it was specific to a certain, but anyone outside of, so he's probably using it in a way that obviously he's talking about the Iranians, so it's in a derogatory way, but this term was also being used for Israel too, so he would probably consider us barbarians too, especially what we believe in this time. But I didn't even get into, I already know what he said, but I'm going to get into arguing. Point, even the most scattered and lost Israelites can be brought back. Bond nor free, bond, slaves free, those not in servitude. This social status doesn't matter in this truth. But Hamashiach is all in all. Yahushua is the center of everything. He dwells in his elect, regardless of their background, condition, or former state. Point, the unity is through Yahushua, not through flesh, status, or location. Okay, Scythian, a savage, considered the lowest class of people. Barbarian, foreigner, one outside Greek culture. So just derogatory terms. Slaves, servants, not enslaved, free. Hellenized, being a Greek. This verse is breaking down that within the elect of Israel, all those external differences, whether you were raised in the customs, completely lost in slavery, or scattered among the nations, don't matter once you come into Yahushua. It's not saying all nations are equal. It's saying the Most High is gathering his people from all conditions and making them one body through Yahushua, and that's exactly what he's doing. But let's see what Not a Jew's talking about. Or they will crash our gates, destroy our societies. And it sounds like he's talking about those Iranians. It says, history proves that unfortunately and unhappily, Jesus Christ has no advantage over Genghis Khan, says PM in his first Prime Minister in his first English presser of the war, arguing that U.S. and Israel had to act now against Iran's regime. So Jesus Christ has no advantage over Genghis Khan. I don't know who Genghis Khan is. Heard of him, but let me look him up. Genghis Khan. Let's do, what is Genghis Khan most known for? Yeah, maybe that's a good question. Let's look that up. Genghis Khan is most famous for uniting the nomadic Mongol tribes and founding the Mongol Empire, which became the largest contiguous land empire in history. He is renowned as a brilliant but brutal military strategist whose conquest reshaped Eurasia, facilitated massive cultural exchange, and caused significant population decline. So let me get, Jesus Christ has no advantage over Genghis Khan. So what did he mean by that? This is a long article. I'm going to see if I can get some help. Let's see what AI says about this. This statement was recently made by Israeli Prime Minister Not a Jew during a press conference on March 19, 2026. That was today. Not a Jew used the comparison while discussing the ongoing conflict with Iran, arguing that moral authority alone does not guarantee victory in global struggles. So that just goes to show you following Yahushua ain't going to lead to your victory. So he's a non-believer. Okay, he thinks the techniques that Genghis Khan took to establish an empire and population decline, he's more aligned with that, showing you where he's aligned with. Context of the remark. The source, Not a Jew, was quoting or summarizing a concept from the book The Lessons of History by historians Will and Ariel Durant. The meaning, he contended that in the real world, power and ruthlessness can overcome morality. He stated, if you are strong enough, ruthless enough, and powerful enough, evil will overcome good. Okay, so let's see. By strength shall no man prevail, KJV. Is that what I'm looking for? Context: the phrase is part of Hannah's song of praise after dedicating her son Samuel to the Lord. I don't think that's what I'm looking for, but let me jump there anyways. 1 Samuel 2 verse 9. 1 Samuel, I think I'm thinking something in Jeremiah though. 1 Samuel 2 verse 9. He will keep the feet of his saints, and the wicked shall be silent in darkness, for by strength shall no man prevail. Right. So he don't believe in the scriptures. So he thinks by strength you shall prevail, because that's Esau. By thy sword shall thou live. 1 Samuel 2 and 9, meaning it says, but the wicked shall be silent in darkness. Highlights God's sovereignty. Matter of fact, I don't really like this. Let's just put it right here. Let's see what they say. They don't break it down the way I like it. He would keep the feet of his saints. Keep, to guard, preserve, protect. Feet, your walk, your path, and direction in life. Saints, the elect of Israel, those set apart. The Lord is guiding and protecting the steps of his elect, keeping them from falling spiritually and ultimately preserving them unto salvation. Ooh, Psalms 37 and 23, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. That's beautiful. Psalms 121 and 3, he will not suffer thy foot to be moved. Yeah, we're going to be steadfast in his truth. He keepeth the paths of judgment and preserveth the way of his saints. Proverbs 2 and 8. And the wicked shall be silent in darkness, meaning silent equals destroyed, brought low, unable to speak or act. Darkness equals death, judgment, ignorance, destruction. The wicked will be cut off and brought into destruction with no power or voice. Psalms 31 and 17, let the wicked be ashamed, let them be silent in the grave, right? Put they as to death. Proverbs 10 and 30, the wicked shall not inhabit the earth. Beautiful. Job 18 and 5, the light of the wicked shall be put out. For by strength shall no man prevail, meaning no one wins by their own power, wisdom, or might. Victory comes only through the Lord. That's right. So he don't believe that, but he's not supposed to believe in that. Let me grab this in the book of, first of all, Genesis 27 and 40. Because this is showing you, this is Esau, this is the traits of an Edomite, Amalek. Genesis 27 and 40, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break the yoke, shall break his yoke from off thy neck. His is talking about Jacob's yoke off his neck. We had his ass in slavery, but the point is, and by thy sword shall thou live. So that's what he's pretty much saying. He gonna live by the sword. He don't see any other. That's how Genghis Khan lived. But look at his empires. What happened to the Mongol Empire? What happened to the Mongol Empire by Genghis Khan? See what happened. After Genghis Khan's death in 1227, the Mongol Empire continued to expand under his successors before fragmenting into 4 separate warring khanates by 1259. So that was that 32 years later, due to succession disputes. And that's funny because that reminds me of First Maccabees. The same thing happened with Alexander the Greek. He was living by the sword, which is a good example of what not to do. So he's going to try to conquer the world and do all these things, and the Lord's going to put your ass to death. First Maccabees 1 and 1, and it happened after the Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece. So he was the first over Greece, the first king, and made many wars, and won many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth. And that's what these niggas are doing, slaying kings, doing all of that. And went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up, just like Esau, proud. And he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him, just like Esau. Tributaries meaning like you paying them taxes, you giving them money, yada, yada, yada. First Maccabees 1 verse 5, and after these things he fell sick, and perceived that he should die. So you ain't got any power over the spirit. Okay, let me grab that precept. No man has power to retain the spirit, KJV. Ecclesiastes 8 and 8. There is no man that have power over the spirit to retain the spirit, neither have he power in the day of death. And there is no discharge in that war, neither shall wickedness deliver those that are given to it. So there you go. Wickedness ain't going to deliver you, nigga. Stating that no one has the power to retain the spirit. As a matter of fact, I don't want it over here. Actually, I'll read it anyways. Control the day of their death, just like Alexander the Great. He just suddenly fell sick, and that's from the Lord, or escape this inevitable battle, which is death. And it emphasizes that wickedness cannot deliver or save those who practice it. No power over death, and that's our blessing. We're going to get the victory over death. He is as death, so you're going to die. That's not your blessing. All right? 1 Corinthians. I said 2 Corinthians for some reason before. I messed up. 1 Corinthians 15, verse 50. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God, neither doth corruption inherit incorruption. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. So our bodies are going to be changed. So we got Esau's not our only enemy. We got war with death too. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed, meaning we're going to be given a new body. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So we're going to go into immortality. He's going to die. He got a death date. As a matter of fact, he might be dead already. This might be some AI generated video. Where's the proof that he's alive? So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. So we got to get the victory over death too. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? So this precept shows you that death ain't stronger than life. Life's stronger than death. But just because we can die, we look at death like it got the victory over us. But in all actuality, we go back up to the Heavenly Father, and we get brought back, through the regeneration or reincarnation. But Esau's gonna experience the death. Okay, ain't gonna be no more Edomites. Now his spirit, whatever he does with that whole race, is gonna be destroyed. So he's going to experience death. But thanks be to God, which give us the victory through our Lord, Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. Yeah, us is talking about the Israelites. Okay, therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. That's right. That's right. Ecclesiastes 8 and 8. Did I put that? Nope. That's pretty much it. He didn't, he don't have any power over the spirit. And that's why he got put to death in the 1 Maccabees 1 verse 5. Wherefore he called his servants, 1 Maccabees 1 verse 6, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule, every one in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. So, the kingdom split into the four most notable is Lacemaicus, Cassander, Seleucid, and Ptolemy. So same thing with Genghis Khan. Now, where is he? The empire officially dissolved by 1368 as its constituent parts, Yuan dynasty, Golden Horde, Ilkhanate, and Chagati Khanate were overthrown or absorbed. So that's not an everlasting kingdom is the point that I'm trying to make here. Okay, so they might have been successful in battle, but it wasn't, you adopting a style that's going to eventually be destroyed. Okay. Daniel 2 verse 44, and in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. So the Lord is setting up the kingdom here. Okay. You can't set up yourself in it's just vain thoughts you just having. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, meaning you other heathen nations, Genghis Khan wannabes. It's not going to, there's no kingdom for you, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms. So every kingdom that you see established, they're going to be broken into pieces, and it shall stand forever. Okay, the divine kingdom shall stand forever, which is the kingdom of the true Israelites, and we going to rule over them, these heathens. So let them talk all the shit they want. Your time is up. Your time's over. All right. Daniel 2 verse 45, for as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, this is talking about Yahweh Shai, and that it break in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, and the silver, and the gold. This is talking about Nebuchadnezzar's vision, the statue of other previous kingdoms. Right now we sitting in the last leg of the Roman Empire. The great God have made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter, because Daniel was interpreting, breaking it down to him. And the dream is certain and the interpretation thereof sure. So it's definitely going to happen. We're watching it happen in real time. Okay, I think Genghis Khan, I'm done with Genghis Khan. So I can close that. You out of here, man. You out of here. For by strength shall no man prevail. Okay, no one wins by their own power, wisdom, or might. Victory comes only through the Lord. This cuts down pride, whether physical strength, military power, or status. None of that can save you. That's right. Zechariah 4 verse 6. Let me go there. As a matter of fact. So going back to Genesis 27 and 40, and by that sword shalt thou live. This is how Esau's supposed to live. That's why he's talking like that. But tells you in Habakkuk 2 verse 4, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. So he's lifted up, he's proud, and he's not righteous. But the just shall live by his faith. So we live in by faith, he lived by the sword. Our faith isn't what the Lord said he's going to do. He said he's going to establish a kingdom that shall never be taken down. Okay, anything else here? What else? Hold on. Zechariah 4, verse 6. The golden lampstand and olive trees. It says, then answered and spake unto me, saying, this is the word of the Lord unto Zerubbabel, saying, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. Let's see what this is talking about. By my spirit. That's what we need. As a matter of fact, let me just search this real quick. Conveying that the rebuilding of the temple and divine work in general is accomplished through God's power rather than human strength, political influence, or personal effort. The context, the message was given to Zerubbabel, the governor of Judah, who was facing intense discouragement and limited resources while trying to rebuild the temple in Jerusalem, as described on this YouTube video. Meaning of might and power refers to human resources, armies, intelligence, and political authority. Significance of spirit. The work is completed by the Holy Spirit, symbolized by oil in the surrounding vision of the lampstand rather than by human strength alone, according to the video on YouTube. Application, it serves as a reminder to rely on God's strength rather than human efforts to overcome obstacles and achieve goals. And that's why we're going to live by faith. Okay, he's relying on his sword. Psalms 33 and 16. Let me grab that too. Psalms 33 and 16. There is no king saved by the multitude of a host. A mighty man is not delivered by much strength. That's right. Psalms 33 and 17. A horse is a vain thing for safety, neither shall he deliver any by his great strength. So, let's see what this means. Psalm 33 and 16, emphasizing that true security comes from God rather than military might. It teaches that relying on earthly resources alone is a vain hope, redirecting trust to God's protection. That's right. Psalms 49 and 11. It's vain hope, man, what these niggas be talking about. But they get to talk. their time to talk. Psalm 49:11, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Yeah, that's right. That's right, man. That's their inward thought. That their houses shall continue forever. Psalms 2:1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? That's the vain thing, we just read it. They imagine that their houses are going to continue forever. It highlights the futile rebellion of human rulers against God and his anointed king. This verse opens a messianic psalm depicting God's sovereignty. Key themes. The verse highlights the confusion, rebellion, and vain, useless efforts of mankind to oppose God's authority. Who are you to oppose the will of the Lord? That's pretty much what he's saying. Context, it sets the stage for the following verses where the kings of the earth conspire against the Lord, and that's what he's doing. He's trying to establish his own kingdom, which is opposed to the Lord's kingdom and his son. So you're gonna have to fight for that. You're gonna have to fight the Lord for that. All right, and the Lord was given the victory. Meaning, according to BibleReference.com, the verse represents astonishment at the audacity of nations rebelling against an all-powerful creator, right? Let's look at this word audacity. That's what he got. That's exactly what he got. What he has. He got the audacity to say this out of his mouth. He out of his damn mind. A willingness to take bold risks. Rude or disrespectful behavior, impudence. That's exactly what you're impudent. Impudence, the quality of being impudent. Impertinence. Impudence is the quality of being rude, disrespectful, or impertinent, often characterized by shameless disregard for others' feelings or opinions. Or the disregard for the Lord. But that's the Lord's enemy anyway, so what do you expect him to say? He loves the Lord? Come on. Got the audacity. You out of your damn mind. Let me finish my precepts. Did I finish this? Psalms 33:17. A horse is a vain thing for safety. Neither shall he deliver any by his great strength. Yeah, a horse, you use that for battle. It says, despite great strength, it cannot deliver or save. Let me see. Psalms 33:17 states that relying on human strength, symbolized by a war horse, is a false hope for victory or safety. So that war horse would represent his missiles, his capability, his military. That's his war horse, his war machine, his military capability. Despite great strength, it cannot deliver or save, emphasizing that true protection comes from the Lord rather than earthly power. That's why your dome ain't really hitting like that. Now you're getting cluster bombed. Vain hope, the war horse represents military strength or human resources, which are deceptive and ultimately unreliable for salvation. True deliverance, salvation is from God alone, not from personal abilities, wealth, or military power. This verse follows the declaration that no king is saved by the size of his army, warning against trusting in human ingenuity instead of God. That's right. I think I'm thinking about Jeremiah 17. Jeremiah 17 and 4. No, ain't that. Jeremiah 17 and 5. Thus saith the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departeth from the Lord. That's right. So he's cursed. This verse warns against relying on human strength, or as some interpreted, prioritizing earthly power over God, resulting in spiritual barrenness. That's right. The Lord is speaking directly through Jeremiah to warn Judah against seeking security in human alliances like Egypt, rather than relying on him. So you're supposed to be Israel, you should be relying on the Lord. The curse, relying on human strength rather than God, results in being like a shrub in the desert or a bush in the wastelands, which cannot see prosperity Here you go. Contrast verses 7 and 8. Conversely, those who trust in the Lord are described as blessed and like a tree planted by the water, which thrives even in times of drought, as described on this Bible reading page. Meaning the verse emphasizes that true security comes from God, not from human effort, power, or people, according to a Reddit post. Okay. Yeah, according to a Reddit post, man. You can't trust in man and make flesh your arm. Flesh would be anything that's not spiritual. Isaiah 30, 31, and 1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots. That's what he does. He trusts in his military, his chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong. So they trust in their military again. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord. That's Esau. You don't seek the Lord. It warns against trusting in worldly strength instead of looking to the Holy One of Israel for help. And it's also talking about you Israelites. Help not in Egypt, but in God. You got the same type of mindset as him. You trust in his idea that he can protect himself by his own means, when everything that's going on is spiritual. Like it tells you in Daniel the 10th chapter. You know, the Lord was sending spirits on, put spirits on these kings to fulfill his will. Isaiah 31 and 2, yet he also is wise and will bring evil and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers and against the help of them that work iniquity. So anyone that's opposed to him, he's going to destroy them. Okay, Isaiah 31 and 2, meaning it teaches that God is not fickle. His words and judgments are irrevocable, not able to be changed, reversed, or recovered. It's final. So what he said is final. Okay, let me grab this in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 6. For I am the Lord Yahweh, I change not, therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. So he don't change. Isaiah 31 and 3, now the Egyptians are men and not God, so the Egyptians are you Edomites, and their horses flesh and not spirit. That's right, they're flesh. You know, your capability is flesh. It's not spirit, and spirit's stronger than the flesh. When the Lord shall stretch out his hand, meaning bring out the judgment, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is hoping shall fall down, and they all shall fail together. So though hand join in hand, Proverbs 11 and 21. The wicked shall not go unpunished. So you can trust in them if you want. When God acts, both those seeking help and those providing it will fall and perish together, highlighting the need for divine reliance over worldly security. That's right. So, you know, his Genghis Khan, I'm just bringing out some precepts to show you don't want to have trust in strength, and you want to put your trust in the Lord. We already know that, but it's good to go over the precepts to let you know. You know, he should be gaining his knowledge from the word, because he's an Israelite. Oh, he's not a Jew, but whatever. Hypocrite. Proverbs 11 and 21. Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. So that's how you're gonna be delivered. All right, but though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished. Right. That's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else. There's something in this chapter I forgot. I read it. I forgot what precept I'm looking for, but anyways, so what else is he talking about? He said a lot. I'm not going to read all, there's a lot here. The regime has waged war against America and Israel and the people of Iran for 47 years. I'm not going to listen to his whole speech. He did say something about a pipeline today. He said something about a pipeline. Control F. Let's see what pops up. Pipeline. Inaudible. Let's see. Let's read up a little bit. What does this say? Illustrative in this image released by the official website of Iranian Defense Ministry, Abu, cruise missile are displayed in a ceremony to deliver the missiles to both National Navy as well as Navy of the IRGC. You won't be able to do it. It's the last moment. No, it takes a little time. I mean, you had a few months to prevent them from doing it and to just disseminate these industries and perhaps achieve this transitional government in Iran. So you'd sit back and you'd say, well, it's not going to happen next Thursday, so let's not act. I tell you that there is enormous risk in not acting, much greater risk than acting. And if you think that the oil markets are in trouble today, think of Iran with nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them. Then think of the blackmail that you would endure. Inaudible question. I'm not going to speak about the full battle plans that we have with the U.S. We're well coordinated with them. I will say this, that once we achieve our goals, then I have argued, I think the Americans understand this very well because we're real partners. I think that what has to be done is to have alternative routes. So he don't want to go through the Strait of Hormuz anymore. He wants alternative routes instead of going through the checkpoints of the Hormuz Straits in the Mandab Straits. What the hell is that? I never heard of Babel. The Babel. Oh, come on, man. Why is everything but? Oh, okay. Let's stop. Come on, man. I need to find out where that is. Where is this? It's probably near the strait, but I don't know where. It's somewhere in that area. I was pointing right at the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, I'm not getting any good reception. So it's something's right there. Babel Mandab Strait. Strait of Mandab is a strait and a major global choke point between Yemen and the Arabian Peninsula, connecting the Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden and by extension the Indian Ocean. So I think it's the part that's after the Strait of Hormuz. I want an image. I want to see if I can find it. No, that's at the opposite end. Okay, so the Strait of Hormuz is up there. It's by Yemen, the Gulf of Aden and the Red Sea. So it's this strait over here. Gotcha. All right, now I know what he's talking about. So he don't want to go that route. He don't want to go up over or up under Saudi Arabia. He wants to build gas pipelines. Instead of going through the choke points of the Hormuz Straits and the Bab al-Mandab Straits in order to have the flow of oil, just have oil pipelines, gas pipelines going west through the Arabian Peninsula. Okay, going west through going west. So where's Israel at? Going west through the Arabian Peninsula. Okay. You mean through Saudi Arabia? Going west through through the Arabian Peninsula, right up to Israel, right up to our Mediterranean ports. And you've just done away with the choke points forever. That is definitely possible. So he's thinking down the road. He's trying to make it easy. Just pump the gas straight through here. We ain't got to go through none of y'all. We can get it right to, and you got to come straight through Israel to get the gas, man. Got to come to me. So I see that as a real change that will follow this war. But I also see this war ending a lot faster than people think. I think you have to, in war, you have to grit your teeth. Let's see what that means. You got to grit your teeth. It signifies pressing top and bottom teeth together to endure hardship, similar to biting the bullet or grinding and bearing it. It is often used to describe holding on until a tough situation passes. So you can grit your teeth, huh? Okay. Churchill said that democracy suffer from the slumber of democracy, disease as he called it, and they only wake up. He said they may wake up only when they hear the gong. The jarring gong of danger is the way he put it. Well, you're hearing the jarring gong of danger. The jarring gong of danger is Iran gets nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles. That's not a jarring dong. That is an apocalypse. Don't let it happen. And the function of leaders is to stand and tell the people the truth, even when things are uncomfortable. That's what you have to do. And you don't always see the danger in time, but leaders are tasked with the task of seeing danger in time and acting on it. But I don't think you see it. You don't understand that this is a trap. And I hope that in time people will see the wisdom and the courage of President Duck's decision and his leadership and the fact that we're working together. Babylon is not fighting for Israel. Babylon is fighting with Israel for a common goal to protect our future, to protect civilization against these barbarians. So it sounds like you're using the same tongue as the Romans. I'm not going to read it all, but on the 19th day of war, Not a Jew says Iran can no longer enrich uranium, build missiles. So I didn't see anything about. I want to see what else. Anything else on pipelines? Nope. That's what I wanted. Let's see what he said about this. They can't enrich uranium. Why? You stopped them. Not a Jew began with brief remarks in Hebrew in which he stated that after 20 days of the campaign, Iran today has no ability to enrich uranium and no ability to produce ballistic missiles, a claim he did not repeat in the English statement and question and answer sessions that followed. Note, some of the questions put to Not a Jew were not clearly audible. So now they can't enrich, supposedly, what he said. All right, that's what he said about uranium, and that's all I need to know. There's probably more, but there's some other stuff I want to read. It says U.S. reportedly detects drones over Washington base where Rubio head-chef live. So they keep finding drones. U.S. officials detected unidentified drones above an Army base in Washington where U.S. Secretary Rubio and Pentagon Chief head-chef live. The Washington Post reported on Wednesday, citing 3 people briefed on the situation. So they both live with their roommates or something. The officials have not determined where the drones came from, the report said, citing 2 of the sources. So that's what's weird about it, because just like when those New Jersey drones, they didn't know. They said that New Jersey drones were coming from the east. So to think that Iran's doing that to get them all the way on the east part of America is crazy. Why would you take the... Let me look at a map, because that don't even make any sense. So if Iran... To send a drone from Iran all the way, all these waters, it would have to go probably past Turkey. They probably would have shot it down even if it passed all these different airspaces. all the way to get over here. That don't make any sense. And then if you're going to go the other route, you got to go through all these different airspaces all the way past the Pacific Ocean. That shit don't make any sense, man. That shit, I don't think there's a drone that can do that. That shit would take days. And then it would have to repower itself. That's way too much. But they just pop up on your radar and they, come on, man. I'm thinking those things ain't drones, man. I'm thinking that's the Lord. But I don't know. That just sounds too crazy for me. It says, but the drone's detection comes as the U.S. military is monitoring potential threats more closely because of a heightened alert level of the U.S.-Israeli war with Iran. The report said since the beginning of the war on February 28th, Iran has retaliated with missile and drone barrages at Israel and countries across the region. The drone sighting for the Fort McNair prompted officials to weigh relocating Rubio and Hegseth, the report said. However, the secretaries have not moved, the report added, citing a senior administration official. So now everyone knows where you're at. Great. Yeah, they had not moved. Okay. They probably did. They just be, I don't know. The official who spoke on condition of anonymity, I don't think I'm saying that right, to discuss the incident, said it occurred within the past 10 days and that multiple drones were detected on the same night. So how are they just popping up? You don't know anything about where they're coming from. I find that to be kind of fishy. According to the report, officials locked down facilities twice this week at another base, the MacDill Air Force Base, home to U.S. Central Command, which is responsible for U.S. military operations against Iran due to a suspicious package and an unspecified incident. Pentagon and the U.S. State Department did not respond to requests for comment. Chief Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell declined to discuss the drones with the Washington Post. So you don't know how packages are coming to your doorstep. Like, you don't know anything. You don't got cameras, how it got brought to the... Come on, man. That shit don't make any sense. The department cannot comment on Hegseth's movements for security reasons. Well, you just said he didn't move. And reporting on such movements is grossly irresponsible, he told the Post. Well, you just grossly irresponsibly said that he's still over there. In the same article. You contradicting yourself, man. Unless I'm lying to myself, maybe I didn't read what I just read. It says, however, the secretaries have not moved, the report added, citing a senior administration official. I don't know why you would say that. But then you saying here, reporting on such movements is grossly irresponsible. Makes no sense to me. A member of a security detail stands watch under a tree along the Anacostia River at the Fort McNair in Washington, May 25th. Oh, yeah, he looks like he's on duty. Yeah, go and watch for me. Keep eyes on the ground. Let me know if you see anything. Incident illustrates threat from non-military drones. Expert, the drone infiltration in Washington, D.C. exemplifies the potential threat from readily available non-military drones, said an expert who spoke with the Times of Israel. So these drones, so Iran wasted all these drones to go over there and just scare you a little bit. Come on, man. That ain't making any sense. Katerina Bondar, a fellow at the Center of the Strategic and International Studies, a Washington, D.C. research institute, warned about potential threats from off-the-shelf drones in an interview with the Times of Israel on Wednesday. So now these are off-the-shelf drones. Come on. I don't believe that. Bondar is a former advisor to the Ukrainian government who has studied drone warfare in Ukraine and written about Iranian drone warfare. She said that Iran probably cannot attack the U.S. homeland with its military drones, but that bad actors could utilize commercially available drones from within the U.S. So you're telling me some cheap-ass drones that you can buy is destabilizing your security? That's pathetic. A threat that everyone here is underestimating is bringing a striking capability here, she said. Not only Iran, but anyone can do that, especially taking into account that the U.S. doesn't have any internal countermeasures. That's fucking pathetic. If this place is that stupid, then that's bad. If you that dumb, man. As a matter of fact, I was gonna grab Isaiah 44, but let me just finish this. Assailants could bring a drone to within a couple of kilometers of a target, so the short, speedy flight would evade air defenses, she said. Okay. It will take a minute and no air defense will be able to react. Even if they want to strike a military facility, nothing can react and intercept that, she said. Its small radars are not adapted to this kind of identification. They look like birds. Well, maybe you should stop mass producing these types of drones. Idiot. After the drone scare over Fort McNair, Bondar said, "This is what I mean when thinking of a realistic scenario of a drone." So now wherever you see drones, you could just be commercially using it. Y'all gonna get scared of it now because you don't know? Since you just scared of drones now? Little 4-year-old fly a drone and just scare you now? Fucking pathetic. On Tuesday, the Washington Post reported that the State Department ordered all U.S. diplomatic posts worldwide to immediately begin security evaluations, citing developments in the Middle East and the potential for spillover effects. That's so stupid, man. I'm gonna grab it anyways. Job 18. You just scary. Somebody dropped something, you gonna jump. Oh my God. You scared me. You opened the door so fast. He's just scary. Job 18:11. Terror shall make him afraid on every side and shall drive him to his feet. That's right. He's afraid on every side. Now he's scared of commercial drones, which I doubt that's what it is. I doubt that's what it is. Yeah, Iran they sent their sleeper cells to go fly drones around the White House so they can scare Pete Hegseth and Marco Rubio. Come on, man. Cut it out. In this passage, Bildad the Shuhite describes the relentless, overwhelming fear and inescapable anxiety that haunts the wicked, marking them for destruction. That's right. They think destruction is coming because they in there and they know what they're doing. When you do fucked up shit, you always feel like something's going to happen to you. But it's really the Lord terrorizing your ass. Terrified. Phrase from correlating scriptures. Job 6:4. For the arrows of the Almighty are within me. The poison whereof drinketh up my spirit. The terrors of God do set themselves in array against me. Woo. It's the terrors of God, man. Highlights his profound emotional and physical pain, attributing his afflictions to God. That's right. Job understood where his afflictions were coming from. Job 15:21, a dreadful sound is in his ears. In prosperity, the destroyer shall come upon him. Let's look this up. This verse is part of Eliphaz's second speech. Emphasizes that even during peaceful times, the wicked live in fear of sudden destruction. Right. You don't know. He at any moment he can get put to death. You don't know for what reason. Done so much shit you can't even tally it up. Job 20:25. It is drawn and cometh out of the body. Yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. And that's talking about the thermonuclear missiles. That glittering sword. This verse highlights the inevitability of divine judgment and the terror that accompanies it, often depicted as a glittering point coming out of the liver or gall. Let's see how it explains that. The glittering swords ultimately is the thermonuclear missiles, but translation variation. Different versions of the Bible describe the weapon differently. Glittering sword in KJV, arrowhead in the NLT, gleaming point in the NIV. Yeah, we're gonna go with the glittering sword. He's scared. He's getting scared of getting attacked. Psalm 73:19. How are they brought into desolation? As in a moment, they are utterly consumed with terrors. Right. Exactly what they are. They're consumed with terrors. How suddenly are they destroyed completely? Let's look this up. We'll look. See. That's a good precept. It signals the end of their arrogance, showing that God's judgment is total and swift, transforming their lives from comfort to utter ruin. That's right. They feeling the weight of wickedness. Jeremiah 6 verse 25. Go not forth into the field, nor walk by the way, for the sword of the enemy in fear is on every side. Right. And just like it was upon us. It highlights the intense fear and destruction, the sword of the enemy surrounding them, signaling impending Babylonian judgment. That's right. The verse is part of a larger warning regarding God's judgment on Judah due to their rebellion, idolatry, and refusal to repent. The threat, the enemy, refers to the invading Babylonian forces. Do not go out to the fields or walk on the roads. Suggests that danger is everywhere, both in rural areas and on travel routes. Meaning the phrase terror is on every side signifies pervasive fear, indicating that nowhere is safe. That's right. That's exactly how you feel. That's why it's all in the newspaper. He said he went from the alert status that they're at is at Charlie, and the highest you can go is Delta. Jeremiah 20 verse 3. And it came to pass on the morrow that Pashur brought forth Jeremiah out of the stocks. Then said Jeremiah unto him, the Lord have not called thy name Pashur, but Magor-Missabib. For thus saith the Lord, behold, I will make thee a terror to thyself and to all thy friends, and they shall fall by the sword of their enemies, and thine eyes shall behold it, and I will give all Judah into the hand of the king of Babylon, and he shall carry them captive into Babylon, and shall slay them with the sword. So Pashur or Magor-Missabib helped Jeremiah get out that pit. And he was pretty much saying you were going to be spared, but those who put him in there were going to be destroyed when the Babylonians invaded. It foretells that Pashur and his friends will see their loved ones killed by Babylonian swords, and that all Judah will be taken into captivity and slain. After being released from stocks by Pashur, Jeremiah renames him Terror on Every Side, prophesying that the fear he caused will return to him. Ooh. That's Esau. He's Missabib. Judgment. The verse declares that Judah will be given into the hand of the king of Babylon, with many being slain or carried away to Babylon. Personal consequences. Pashur is told he will see his friends killed by their enemies, highlighting the personal devastating nature of judgment. I'm going to have to read Jeremiah 20 again. It says, this new name signifies the impending judgment and fear that would face Pashur and Judah due to the Babylonian invasion. Was he the Ethiopian? Pashur and Ethiopian. Based on biblical accounts, Pashur, son of Malchijah, was a Jewish official and priest, not an Ethiopian. He is known for opposing the prophet Jeremiah. The Ethiopian mentioned in this context is Ebed-Melech, who rescued Jeremiah from a cistern distinct from Pashur. That's what I'm thinking about, Ebed-Melech. Okay, different story. Context, he's mentioned in Jeremiah 21:1 and 38:1. Ebed-Melech, an Ethiopian eunuch in King Zedekiah's court, who saved Jeremiah, as mentioned in Jeremiah 38. Okay, I'm mixing up the two. So explain to me Pashur. Pashur is a biblical figure primarily known as the 7th century BC priest and chief temple governor who persecuted the prophet Jeremiah, son of Immer. He beat Jeremiah and put him in stocks, prompting Jeremiah to rename him Magor Misabib, terror on every side, and prophesying his exile to Babylon. So, prophesied against him. Jeremiah 46:5, wherefore have I seen them dismayed and turned away back, and their mighty ones are beaten down and are fled apace, and look not back, for fear was round about, saith the Lord. Let's look this up. This verse depicts mighty ones, warriors, terrified, turning back and fleeing without looking back, driven by fear on every side, as decreed by the Lord. See? The Lord putting that fear on you. Jeremiah 49:29, their tents and their flocks shall they take away. They shall take to themselves their curtains and all their vessels and all their camels, and all they shall cry unto them, for fear is on every side. That's pretty much it. Pretty much it. There's a couple more. I'm going to read it. 2 Corinthians 5:11. Knowing therefore the terror of the Lord, we persuade men, but we are made manifest unto God, and I trust also are made manifest in your conscience. I don't really go with that. It's loosely related though. Revelation 6:15. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens in the rocks of the mountains. You're going to wish the rocks fall on your head. Oh, I did have the article. On 19th day of war, now the Jew says Iran can no longer enrich uranium and build missiles. PM says model ally Israel is holding off further strikes on energy sites at Duck's request. War will go on as long as is necessary, but be over faster than people think. Yeah. Well, there's already reports that this video was AI generated. They're looking at his hands. It's all messed up. So Dumbo might be out of here, man. Dumbo might be with the Lord. Let's look at Dumbo, the elephant. Oh my God, man. Disney Looney Tunes are just so fucking funny, man. Oh my God. Dumbo is a 1941 American animated musical comedy drama produced by Walt Disney and released by RKO. It is based upon a storyline written by Helen Abson and Harold Pearl and illustrated by Helen Durney for the prototype of a novelty toy roller book. The main character is Jumbo Jr., an elephant who was ridiculed for his oversized ears and mockingly nicknamed Dumbo, but in fact he is capable of flying by using his ears as wings throughout most of the film. His only true friend aside from his mother is a mouse named Timothy, a relationship parodying the stereotypical animosity between mice and the elephants. Dumbo and his rat. Hegseth says no time frame for war on Iran as Pentagon asks for $200 billion. I gotta listen to this.
Hegseth says no time frame for war on Iran as Pentagon asks for $200 billion. By Al Jazeera staff, AFP, and AP. The Pentagon is seeking an additional $200 billion from Congress to fund the United States-Israel war with Iran, a conflict Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth warns has no time frame for ending. Asked about the figure on Thursday, Hegseth did not directly confirm the amount, but said that it could change.
That's a ridiculous amount of money. $200 billion? Come on, man. He's pretty much saying he needs all your money. Where are you gonna get that money from, man?
As far as $200 billion, I think that number could move. Obviously, it takes money to kill bad guys, Hegseth said. We're going back to Congress and folks there to ensure that we're properly funded for what's been done, for what we may have to do in the future. The Associated Press and Washington Post reported that the U.S.
That don't sound like you're going to be getting out of debt soon. I got to grab it. Habakkuk chapter 2. So that's what y'all going to be paying for. And if you don't pay, he's going to lock you up. Habakkuk 2 verse 5. No, Habakkuk 2 verse 6. Shall not all these take a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. That's what he's doing. Let me read that in the NLT. Habakkuk 2 verse 6. But soon their captives will taunt them. They will mock them, saying, what sorrow awaits you, thieves? Now you will get what you deserve. You've become rich by extortion. But how much longer can this go on? That's right. But let's look at this word, clay. It's abatya, and it means heavy debts. So that's what he's doing. He's lading himself with the clay. Let me see how they break this down. They don't break this down right, but I'm curious to see what Google's going to say. I know they don't break it down right, but it signals a reversal of fortune where the oppressed nations will rise up to taunt, mock, and plunder their conquerors, demonstrating that ill-gotten gains brings inevitable ruin. So that's what the Romans did. How did debt play a part in Rome's fall? Debt contributed significantly to Rome's fall through chronic public overspending on military defense and welfare, resulting in massive debt and systemic currency debasement. To cover deficits, emperors reduced the silver content of coins, triggering hyperinflation, a breakdown in trade and economic reliance on bartering. Public debt and military costs. The Roman treasury was constantly strained by the high cost of maintaining a professional army, to secure vast borders, and by financing political bread and circuses programs to pacify the citizenry. So that's probably what he's going to use. That's what most of the defense is going on, making movies for you niggas, so you can be at peace with what he's doing over there. Currency debasement and inflation. To manage debt, emperors decreased the silver content in the denarius from over 95% under Augustus to less than 5% by the mid-200 AD. This lack of trust in money led to runaway inflation. That's what we're headed into. Credit crunches. The economy was heavily reliant on credit, and at times, such as in 33 AD, when the Lord died, a shortage of currency caused financial crisis and credit crunches, making it hard to pay off debts and damaging the economy. So this is where we headed. Shift to barter economy. As currency lost its value, commerce broke down, and trade reverted to bartering, particularly in the West, which reduced imperial control and crippled economic efficiency. Taxation crisis. A shrinking economy reduced the tax base, making it difficult for the state to pay for the soldiers and infrastructure required to maintain control, leading to reliance on fewer and less loyal troops. Wow. They're not even going to be able to pay their troops, man. While some historians consider they might just leave their posts, especially if you're not getting paid. That's what they're doing with the TSA right now. People, what's going on with the TSA, man? I don't want to. There's so much going on right now. Okay. While some historians consider it an oversimplification to view debt as the primary cause, it was a central factor in the economic mismanagement that weakened the Western Empire. So there you go.
U.S. Department of Defense had requested the sum from the White House. It's an extraordinarily high number and comes on top of extra funding the Defense Department already received last year as part of President Donald Trump's July tax cuts bill. Such a request would need to be approved by Congress, and it is not at all clear that such spending would have political support. Congress has been bracing for a new spending request, but it is not yet clear whether the White House has transmitted the proposal for a war that Hegseth declined to provide a timeline for ending. We wouldn't want to set a definitive time frame, Hegseth told a news conference, adding that we're very much on track and that Trump will be the one to decide when to stop. It will be at the president's choosing, ultimately, where we say, hey, we've achieved what we need to. Congress, however, has not authorized the war and is showing growing unease with the military operations scope and strategy. Congress is controlled by the president's Republican Party, but many of the more conservative lawmakers are also fiscal hawks, with little political appetite for big spending on military operations or other matters. Most Democrats are likely to reject such a request and demand more detailed plans for military strategy and goals. The requested amount would be a sizable boost to the Pentagon's annual budget, which Congress approved at more than $800 billion for the current fiscal year.
It's already at $800 billion. You asking for another $200 billion? That's $1 trillion. Let me double check. 800 billion plus 200 billion equals $1 trillion. Yes, that's correct. $1 trillion for military spending. This place is done. It's done.
That is on top of some $150 billion that Congress gave the Defense Department in last year's tax cuts bill, much of it for specific projects and overall upgrades to the Pentagon's operations. While some of the military's biggest champions on Capitol Hill have welcomed new spending as a way to upgrade the U.S. defense capabilities in the face of emerging threats, others will certainly point to healthcare and other domestic needs that they view as more important priorities. Top U.S. military officer General Dan Kane, who spoke alongside Hegseth, provided details on weapons being used against Iran and its allied forces in the region. Kane said A-10 Warthogs, a type of aircraft designed for providing close air support, are hunting and killing fast-attack watercraft in the Strait of Hormuz waterway, a key trade artery which Iran effectively closed to maritime traffic following the start of the war. He also said AH-64 Apaches are being used in Iraq to target Iran-aligned militia groups there, and that some U.S. allies have begun using the attack helicopters to counter one-way drones launched by Tehran's forces. By Al Jazeera staff, AFP, and AP.
I miss when he said... He said he needs the money for bullets and ammunition. I can't find where he said that. Ammunition. Yeah. We want to have vast amounts of ammunition, Duck said. We have a lot right now, but it was taken down by giving so much to Ukraine. So, come on, man. Place is through. This place is through. Why the U.S. Homeland Security shutdown is raising fears of airport delays. TSA workers have resigned over unpaid wages as Congress debates funding for Department of Homeland Security. So I'm saying that to say, why would the military want to fight if they're not getting paid? Come on, your morale's going to be, that's not good. That's not good, man. But I'm going to end it here. Lord's will, this was edifying. Shalom.